Testing, testing. Thank you. Call to order the City Council meeting for Monday, August 19th, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Amanda.
Mark Bittner,
Here.
Shannon Derby, here. Bill Leclerc,
Here.
Doug Brandt,
Here.
Tim Petrie,
Here.
Bonnie Shimalunas,
Here.
Scott Steckmesser,
Here.
Adam Mahusky,
Here.
Darla Leclerc. Here. All present.
Thank you for that. We do have the attorneys with us over the phone this evening as well, just so everyone on council is aware. On to number 4, consideration of any council members' request to participate. We're all here tonight, so we can skip over that. And on to number 5, public hearing. We have 2 this evening. The first one is a public hearing regarding the conditional use permit as a museum storage building use for Roger Street Fishing Village located at 2010 Roger Street, submitted by Ace Building Service applicant and Bonnie Tim on behalf of owner Roger Street Fishing Village. Once we have the public hearing, will then ask for a motion to approve the conditional use permit as recommended by the Plan Commission. Greg, anything for this?
This is a project that I'm sure the folks at Roger Street can explain if you have questions, but it's for badly needed museum storage space. It is a use consistent with the museum and effectively part of the museum. And as such, museums are conditional use in waterfront business located. The conditions of the permit are noted on the proposed CU permit in your packets. Essentially, operated in compliance with zoning code. Any substantial changes requiring additional approvals by the city council. It is issued specifically to Roger Street Fishing Village, Inc. and would lapse on change in ownership of the property or its tenancy. May be reissued only after proper application if that use does cease for 12 months. No significant limitations on hours of operation for storage. It could be utilized 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, signage in accord with the city sign code. So this is a conditional use, but the Plan Commission had no real issues with it, found it to be entirely consistent with the waterfront business district.
Thank you for that. Again, this is a public hearing, so I'll make 3 calls. If you wish to come up and talk about this particular item, please step up to the podium on your left and please state your name and address for the record. I'm now opening up the first call. Seeing no one, I'll close the first call and open up the second call. Yep, go ahead.
Francis Nelson, 2018 Jackson Street. So by virtue of the fact that it is museum, that is what is the conditional use?
Well,
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
against this. I'm here for information.
Oh, absolutely.
So is that, am I
Correct.
understanding
In the
that correctly?
waterfront business district, there, and like in all of our districts, there are either permitted uses, which are generally allowed per zoning without review by the Plan Commission and approval of a permit by council. There are other uses that are listed as conditional uses. Museum is one of those. And as this is written, and if council approves it this evening, it couldn't be used for general storage like a commercial storage operation. It still would have to be specific to the museum.
I
But-
volunteered to offload things from the buildings that were torn down years ago.
Yep.
So I know that there is stuff that needs to be stored. How do we find out more information? I didn't want to miss the third call. I'm interested in finding out some more information about what's going on
Perhaps,
as a adjacent neighbor.
do we have in the council's packets tonight copies of the original plan, it was in the Plan Commission packet you'd have seen earlier as far as diagrams of the building and that, those certainly could be furnished.
Okay.
We don't have them in front of us tonight. Maybe one of the representatives, if council is okay with it, of the Rogers Street Board could speak a little bit to their designer.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bonnie.
Can you,
What
yes,
I'm-
you're able to, yeah, if you
want
just head up to the mic,
join up
please.
at the mic, so. And if it would be helpful, I can certainly run off a copy of the materials that went to Plan Commission for this.
It's a basic 40 by 80 building. It will have 2 doors on Roger Street side, 1 door on the Marina side. Basically storing artifacts, our stage for the museum, lawnmowers, snow, only our storage.
Right.
And then it will have a bathroom in it for the marina, correct. But it's a 1-story building.
Okay.
I don't know.
40 by 80.
40 by 80. So the
Go
80
along
will,
the-
yes, 80 will go along the Jackson's, I'm sorry. 80 will go along the Jackson Street side. 40 will
Okay.
go east-west. Or to the river
Depth.
depth.
And will it be set on?
I believe the setback is 25 feet, 25 feet
Okay.
off of the road.
But not hugging the riverfront?
No,
Would be closer to Rogers.
Correct. so you take 25 feet from the roadway, 40 feet to the river.
Yep.
That's the depth of the
Got it.
building.
Just wanted to get a little, knowing what,
Okay, any other questions?
I'm done.
And again,
Thank you.
that's why the notice appears in the paper, and that's why we do the direct mailings to folks within 200 feet. So thank you for the question. Thank you, Ms. Tim, for the answer.
Anyone else for the second call? Otherwise, I will close the second call and go to the third and final call. Seeing nothing else, I will close the third and final call and then looking for a motion to approve the conditional use permit. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bonnie. Any council discussion? See nothing, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Shannon Derby,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt, Tim Petrie, Bonnie Shimalunas,
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister,
Aye.
Adam Mahusky,
Aye.
Darla Leclerc, Mark Bittner,
Aye.
all in favor.
Thank you all for that. On to the second public hearing. This is a public hearing regarding conditional use permit for a gas station located at 1706 16th Street in the B1 Business District, submitted by Quash's Construction Incorporated, which is the applicant, and Halapa Marketing LLC owner. Greg?
Yes, I would note that this item was added to the agenda this afternoon. You all got a follow-up email with the agenda. It was also noticed out to the media and posted in the usual 3 locations. That after we realized earlier today that this item had been inadvertently left off the agenda for tonight. The hearing for this was set on July 15 by action of council. The Class 2 notice did appear in the newspaper. Mailings went to property owners with 200 feet. Then it didn't appear on the agenda. Talking with our municipal attorneys at Weston Dunn, and Sean is on the line right now, on review of the statutory provision about special meetings or addition of items to agenda, it appears to meet the test or to be consistent with factors to be considered in cases like this. So we did add it as shown. It's not a secret, certainly. Again, the legal ads have been placed, the mailing's done, and this council is of record setting tonight for the hearing. So with that, this is the existing gas station C-store at 1606 Madison. I'm sorry, at 1706 16th Street, 1706 16th Street, over by the Madison Street Bridge, currently a BP station. The owner applied for and was approved on recommendation of the Plan Commission and action of this council earlier this summer to rezone the property from I-2 industrial to B1 business. You probably recall that. Not sure why it was zoned I-2 industrial, probably an artifact from a long time back, given the proximity to metalware, notably in that area. The owner has submitted site plans which have been approved by the Plan Commission to add about an 1,100 square foot small restaurant to the west of the property. That didn't require a conditional use because in the B2, that's a permitted use. I think that was the impetus for seeking the rezoning. However, in the B1 district, gas station is a conditional use. So thus this application, which is simply to show the property being in compliance for the gas station use as it's configured today on the property. So the Plan Commission didn't have any real heartburn with that, and there were no special conditions noted. I guess just with reference to the conditional use permit you just had for the fishing village, it would be the equivalent of 1 through 6 on that one. Conformity with existing city ordinances, any substantial changes would require approval back through the Plan Commission and Council. Issued specifically to the current owner would require re-upping if the property sold or if there's a change in tenancy. No restrictions on hours of operation and compliance with city sign code. So. Here tonight on this one.
Okay,
That's that.
same as last one. There'll be 3 calls. I will open and close each one. If you wish to have questions or speak about this one, particular one, please step up to the podium on your left and state your name and address for the record. Opening up the first call.
Hello, my name is Jim Bob Scoot. I live at 1800 Jefferson Street here in Two Rivers, apartment number unit 206. I think Two Rivers High School doesn't have like a city, like Maritime. I read their Maritime Metro Transit bus, city bus. It doesn't connect. It doesn't connect up to Two Rivers High School. It only
Is this about the public hearing that we have right now, or is this for something else?
is something else.
Something else. Okay, we'll call you back up for when it's that time. Anyone wants to speak about this one item for the conditional use permit? Seeing no one, I'll close the first call and open up the second call. Seeing no one, I will close the second call and open up the third and final call. Seeing no one, I will close the third call and look for a motion to approve the conditional use permit as recommended by the Plan Commission.
Make a motion to approve the conditional use permit.
Thank you, Mark. Second by Doug. Any council discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Mark?
There is a plan that's was specific for the restaurant. I don't have that with me, but that's a building to the west and was found to be in compliance as far as the number of parking spaces.
But this is just for the gas station,
And
correct?
yeah, the conditional use permit in front of you tonight is solely for the existing gas
Gas station.
station staying and now being declared an approved conditional use.
Was just about the gas station.
Yeah, the restaurant addition was only subject to site and architectural plan approval by the Plan Commission because, again, that's a permitted use in the B2 district.
Anything else? Seeing nothing else, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shimalunas,
Aye.
Scott Steckmesser,
Aye.
Adam Mahusky,
Aye.
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Bittner, Shannon Derby,
Aye.
all in favor.
Thank you all for that. On to number 6, input from the public. If you wish to speak about a topic that's on the agenda or something you'd like to see on a future agenda item, please step up to the podium again on your left and state your name and address for the record. Input from the public.
Hello, my name is Jim Bob Scoot. I live at 1800 Jefferson Street, apartment right here in Two Rivers. So I ride the Maritime Metro Transit, and it usually stops off at by Craning Chevrolet on like 34th and Lincoln Street. And it doesn't connect up to Two Rivers High School. I think it would be very beneficial for for some students that don't drive or like are scared or maybe hesitant on driving, to have a cheap fare to get up to the Two Rivers High School, and so that they can get there safely to and from the school, at least during school day hours. It doesn't need to connect up there after school hours, and when school lets out. But I think it would be very beneficial if Maritime Metro Transit went all the way up to Two Rivers High School, just for low income families and stuff, and just the public. Thank you.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it a little bit before, and it's,
Yeah, we haven't formally referred that question to Maritime Metro. I know they've looked at it in the past, and it just really stretches the Two Rivers route, which has to have a 1 hour turnaround time to make connections back with the other routes at Manitowoc. But we could ask that, but it would mean some changes elsewhere because that hour turnaround is pretty well filled up right now. Yep.
yes, go ahead. Come on up.
My name is Sophia Bix, 2010 Jackson Street. Just to follow up on what Jim Bob was talking about, I've had people stop me while walking in the high school area, asking me if I need a ride. So, there's a safety issue there as well with the bus route.
Thank you. Anything else? Nothing else? We'll go to council communications, letters and other communications from citizens. Anyone have anything? It's funny.
I had somebody ask me a question of what they're doing on the Hamilton property, because apparently it looks like people are either digging or putting in pipes or something. I don't know what's going on. Do you?
I might ask our Public Works Director and City Engineer, Matt Heckenleibel, to speak to that. I know he's had some conversations with the consultants team that's doing work out in the field. Yep, and again, these are the environmental consultants retained by Thermo Fisher Scientific to address some identified issues over there.
I don't know the specifics, but when I did talk to them about a month ago, it's basically a pilot program, test pilot, and they are putting some chemicals into the ground to react with the solvents and other chemicals and hopefully neutralize them before it discharges down to the river. So they're hoping what they are doing will go into a full phase implementation in 6 to 9 months. They're hoping to have the pilot program results back in about, I think they said 3 to 4 months. So, and then if all goes well, they'll go to the full scale implementation and clean up the site in record time, whatever that means, and hopefully be able to convey it to other than just green space. So that's the short, simplistic version. Okay.
Understand the experimental or trial activity relates to sort of the first contaminant that was identified on the site, TCE or trichloroethylene, which has been a matter of record for a few years now. From what we've seen with DNR correspondence and permissions the city has given for monitoring wells in the right-of-way around the site, DNR is still requiring the company to do more exploration, if you will, as to PFAS compounds on the site and in proximity to it. So there are 2 significant contaminants being dealt with, the TCE and the PFAS family of compounds. And I don't think, other than measuring levels on the site and some of the areas around the site off the property, I don't think there's been any direction as far as potential treatment on PFAS. I know I've seen on record where Thermo's environmental consultant has noted PFAS issues with groundwater might be dealt with a groundwater use restriction, because in cities, people generally don't drink the groundwater. So that's a first line of defense there. So appreciate that the company is continuing to invest funds in doing investigation, remediation, and indicate from discussions, their continued willingness for a sale to the city when it can be assured that the property is cleaned up to a decent standard and we're not creating undue risk for the taxpayers. That's historically been the direction of this council that would be desired.
Anyone else?
Mr. President, I noticed this morning that in front of our drop box, it's noted as a designated parking spot, and it might be convenient for our senior citizens. The reason I realized there was a woman waiting to pull in this place and someone's parked there. We might want to eliminate that stripe in the front that's faded, but it does have stripes for parking immediately in front of the drop box. And I think that improved convenience for people who want to pay bills and upcoming
You
election.
could probably blast that off. I could have sworn we had yellow curb out there, but I'm not sure. Chief
Stripes
indicates
for parking, Greg, in front.
it may still be striped though.
It delays.
So we're clearly,
Yeah, we
yeah,
need
as a
to-
drop box, it's not doing its job. You're
No,
right.
it's not a parking spot.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
an inconvenience for older citizens.
And I know Matt is making a note of that. We'll take a look at it and
I know the curb is striped yellow.
Trust me, Matt, it's faded, but there is a stripe enough that it's visible and people are using it.
yeah, I mean, it might, we really should look at that because we do have the spaces marked out here and there is a south end to the space just north of it and a north end to the space just south. But how do we make crystal clear? That doesn't mean that you park in front. The curb is yellow, but we'll take a look at those markings. Yep.
Sounds good. Anything else? I did have a couple people reach out to me about the Welcome to Traverse sign on Memorial Drive, and I also made a comment to Greg about it. Looks amazing. So I believe that was Parks and Rec that cleaned it up out there.
Actually, it was our landscape contractor, Trenton Landscaping, which
Or them too.
maintains the landscaping on the boulevards and what have you.
Yeah, it looks a lot nicer with those big bushes out of there, and now the newer ones out there looks.
Although I'd hasten to point out Parks and Rec does an outstanding job of keeping it mowed and trimmed
Oh,
along
sure,
the trail.
absolutely.
Many other
Absolutely.
things. We're not even going to hit their budget for this one. We'll take it out of the allotment for wayside maintenance. Because
Awesome.
they don't have any money left for plantings this year. But
Okay, good.
thank you for noticing. That goes back to a discussion at a work session earlier this year, and it certainly spiffed up that entry to the city.
Yeah, it looks so nice out there now. If no one has anything else, we'll go on to number 9, city managers report.
First
Sorry,
up, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I missed it. Council reports from boards, commissions, and committees.
Yes.
Thank you, Amanda. Anyone have anything? Yes, Adam.
Parks and Rec Board met, the Advisory Rec Board. We discussed dogs on the beach, and that policy is going to remain in effect just as it is. No one felt the need to change that. We took a look at the park and open space plan. We approved it, and that'll be coming before council. Mike shared with us a drawing for Paddler's Park, some different things that we're going to look to do inside there. Got an update on the golf simulator and some cleanup that's going to happen on the disc golf course up at Picnic Hill.
Thank you, Adam. Anyone else? Yes, Bonnie.
On the finance committee, our city manager has informed us that he would like to retire. And so step one, we formed a search committee, which is made up of the finance committee plus the I was going to say city president, but the council president. And we will be issuing a request for proposals to executive search firms to assist in the recruitment. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Scott,
Yes, sir.
at a Public Works Committee, one of the things that we touched on was how much width of your sidewalk is. And there's a lot of residences in the city where stuff is growing over the sidewalk, and in some cases to the and talking about ordinance for the sidewalks more safe.
Bill, that specifically is about keeping them edged.
The foliage back enough so that a wheelchair can go through. The minimum spec on having a wheelchair go through there is 42 inches, but we've thought that it should be close to 5 feet, half feet.
Are all sidewalks that big though?
Sidewalks are 5'4".
With a
Down on
few
the
exceptions
south
like
side, yeah.
Riverview Drive, not too many, but.
Okay, because there are some that are just poured smaller than that, I've noticed. Not because of the grass overgrowing, but some that are,
Riverview comes to mind because when the city extended sidewalks there was a decision to go with narrower sidewalks. There may be some other areas as well, but, yeah. And I think we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, committee members or Matt, we have ordinances that address brush or tree limbs hanging over the sidewalk. I know we've had notices go out this year, but when it comes to edging, cutting back the turf, and there are areas, most people are pretty good about it, but there are areas where there's a good foot of encroachment by the turf on either side of the sidewalk. And Matt can fill you in with the gospel truth on it as he approaches the mic.
The standard sidewalk nowadays is 5'4", 60 inches, 5'4". And what we are looking at doing, the wintertime snow clearing policy is that all the concrete pavement be cleared. There is nothing regarding vegetation or other encroachments. There are certain areas within the city that the vegetation literally is growing over the curb, over the sidewalk, and is reducing that width considerably, upwards to, in my opinion, 50%. And there's nothing in our ordinance that prohibits it. So we've been taking a look, trying to determine what is the best solution. Do we remain consistent with the wintertime snow and ice removal policy? All concrete must be cleared. So i.e. your sidewalk has to be edged. Any type of landscaping, so any type of fence, brush, etc., needs to be cleared back. And then ultimately, how do we enforce that? So further discussion will happen at the committee level.
We discussed no more than 4 inches over the vegetation, over the sidewalk width or whatever. Have it finished.
That's a lot more than just missing and one summer's worth of edging. That's giving people some allowance.
We have been enforcing a forestry ordinance that covers this for most of Parks and Rec. We've probably done 5 or 6 of these cutbacks on shrubs and things overgrowing the sidewalks. We've been doing that this summer. We did one because of grass covering the sidewalks today. I don't know if that was a stretch of the ordinance, but we did it. It would be quite the operation if this was a serious enforcement issue. I mean, it's Parks and Rec just going out there and cutting all these. So just keep that in mind. We have been doing that. And we've done at least, I could get the exact number for you, but we've probably done 5 or 6 this summer already. Yeah, we did. Yeah. And there's a forestry ordinance that says like I enforce it as you have to have 8-foot clearance above the sidewalks. So if your shrubs or your grass is over top of it, then it's not 8 feet, basically. So, yeah.
Maybe at least an amendment would clarify that situation.
Well, you're definitely invited to our next Public Works Committee meeting to straighten us out. All right.
I think he's definitely assigned to attend that meeting as well. Thank you, gentlemen.
Don't win it. Don't tell.
Not exactly sure.
Anything else, guys?
What?
Was there anything else?
I was asking him when it was and he doesn't remember.
Okay.
Does anyone know when the next Public Works meeting is? Maybe Matt?
September 8th.
I should remember that. I should know this too.
It's changed because of Labor Day.
Oh,
Labor
okay.
Day.
Wednesday after Labor Day. Wednesday after Labor Day.
And we moved it up to 4:30, correct? Oh, yes, Wednesday after Labor Day, 4:30, Public Works. Anything else for council reports? Yes, Darla.
All right, with Main Street, just want to let everybody know that this week, August 19th, which is today through 25th, Two Rivers Main Street businesses are partnering with the Lakeshore Humane Society to help animals in our community when people shop in their businesses. And there are businesses in the bid district who are collecting monetary and supply donations. And if you go on Main Street's website, it will tell you what businesses are participating, and it's a very long list. So if you have a chance, get involved with that. Ethnic Fest, we're still looking for sponsors. That is going to be on September 21st, so it's not really that far away. But we always need sponsors, so you can get in touch with Jason Ring. And Two Rivers Fall Wine Walk host sign up. If you are a member of the bid and you would like people to stop by and try a beer or a wine, go ahead and sign up for that with Jason as well. For Environmental Advisory Board, actually, we've had a couple things going on. On August the 9th, Greg, myself, Matt Heckenleibel, John Tillotson and Tracy Coach, who are both members of the Environmental Advisory Board, we went to it was a presentation by the LNRP, and that's Lakeshore Natural Resources Partnership. And it was for Lake Michigan stakeholders, which Two Rivers is one of those. Lake Michigan Day, they were highlighting the significant opportunities for continued restoration and protection of Lake Michigan and the broader Great Lakes Basin. It was really interesting. Sarah Smith was the keynote speaker, and she is with the Midwest Tribal Resilience Liaison with the College of Menominee Nation Sustainable Development Institute. That was a mouthful for me. But it was interesting because they are kind of a group that's overlooked sometimes. They're having a lot of issues with rain dumps and with their losing land on their reservations, and just what's happening to their roads. They might have one road that goes in and that's also your egress, that are getting washed away. And that's very difficult if you have somebody who has to go for medical treatment, or they have to go do chemo or dialysis or what have you. So it was interesting to hear what their challenges are. Then there was the climate change action panelists, and we had Jeff Lutzy, who's the executive director of the Climate Change Coalition of Door County, and Marco Marquez, Wisconsin State Director of Organizing at Action for the Climate Emergency. They had a lot of information to share with us, and EAB, for our educational video series, we did do a video on this, and it should be up now. But then you could hear snippets of the different portions of people's talks. So you might be interested in that. One of the really interesting ones was Susie Seidelman. She did Take Back My Meds. She's a Take Back My Meds coalition director. And basically what that was is to kind of bring people up to speed as to why it's not a good thing to flush your medications that you're not using anymore. You know, because there's a lot of things that are getting into our fish that you really don't want in our fish. So basically it was a, turn them in. I know downstairs over at the police station, at the police offices, there is a place for you to drop your drugs off. So please use that. And I talked to Chief Minert, and he said that people are really using that. They have to clear it out like every 3 days or so. There's so much that's dropped off. So I think that Two Rivers is really being very conscientious about that. But all in all, it was a great day. And I really, if you want to find out more about it, just check out on Environmental Advisory Board's web pages. And we tried to pare it down as best as we could and just get the highlights. You probably have, one thing I forgot on Main Street, you've noticed that the mural is done. It looks fantastic. We do plan on having a presentation of it once the Priggies are well enough to come out and formally, introduce this mural to the community. Don't have any idea how long that's going to take, but we're not going to do it without them. They've been instrumental in this. And we did have a local artist who's a muralist and wants to stay anonymous, who stepped up to the plate and volunteered to finish this mural off. And basically that was his gift to the Priggies. And he did a lovely job. He did the crane. So anyway, so that was Main Street. On Environmental Advisory Board, we're going pretty strong on our web pages. You might want to check them out. It's www.two-rivers.org/EA board. So just check that when you have a moment. I think you'll be very pleased with what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have two questions one is about the stormwater partnership with Vanderbro. Could you explain that, and how much of a cost is that? Does this involve money? Maybe that's the way I should phrase it. In other words, if there is money, how much does the city pay?
Okay, what it is basically, he got in touch with us, and they are on the east side of the Arboretum, where the parking lot is, which has been expanded. There's going to be a teaching center down there with a lot of examples as to rain gardens. And what they're looking at right now is different kinds of green infrastructure that could be done. He got in touch with us mainly because that's kind of our forte. So we would like to be able to work in tandem with him as far as like maybe planning out some of this. It would give us an opportunity, instead of us always talking about green infrastructure, we'd be able to have people go someplace to see what we're talking about, the different kinds of, there's permeable asphalt, there's a grid system, there's so many different things that people can do that stops the runoff. So that's going to be an educational thing. As far as money, money is out there. There are grants, there are sponsors. I would not expect the city to put in for this, to pay out of pocket. This is going to be something that is going to come from, the wider range of people and organizations.
Okay. The second question is, I just read this about Public Works. I mean, it just caught my eye. Received a request from property owner to compost his own human waste. And then it doesn't say what happened. So I'm very curious to know what happened.
Is that utilities? Public utilities, right?
Yeah, no, well, no, I don't know. Oh, maybe it was.
Public utility.
Oh, okay, because you don't know anything about it.
Pays to read those minutes, guys.
Absolutely.
Mr. Heckenlibel.
Yes, we did receive a request from a property owner to compost their own waste, which in fact is permissible. Why? I have no clue, since they are required to hook up to city sewer and water and utilize those services. Well, technically, they don't have to utilize the services. However, once he quote unquote composts the waste, he would then need a permit from the state or the EPA to dispose of it. So.
Oh, he's gonna do that.
So he was advised of this,
Okay.
kind of a, individual that has idealistic goals, or expectations, and I don't know if, they can be met within the city corporate limits.
Thank you, Matt.
Anything else? Council reports? Okay, see nothing. Now we can go on to city manager's report.
Yes, I'm pleased to say that tonight we do have special invited guests. We discussed at the last council meeting the announcement that had come forward from the Kites Over Lake Michigan Board that the 2024 edition of Kites Over Lake Michigan, that'd be the 19th annual, will be the final chapter of this event as organized and sponsored through the Kites Over Lake Michigan Board and organization. Key to this whole festival becoming a highlight of our summers here and really putting the best beach in Wisconsin on the map has been, of course, Chow Chong of Unique Flying Objects. And we claim him as a resident, even if he lives just up the road a little piece. So we do have a resolution on tonight's agenda recognizing the work of Chow and the committee. I'd like to ask the council's approval to read into the record and adopt that resolution. And after that, would like to invite Chow up for any comments he'd like to share about the event, about the upcoming event this year, the really awesome t-shirts, and or anything else as far as his retrospective on this event.
So we're looking for a motion to read and adopt the resolution. Thank you, Bill. Second by Shannon. Any discussion? This will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie, Bonnie Shimalunas,
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister,
Aye.
Adam Mahusky.
Aye.
All in favor.
And I would like to note, and I got this from one of Chief Minor's emails about board meetings, the folks that we believe make up the complete membership of the board, some of them are here tonight, include Brian Kohlmeyer, our former police chief, Ben Minert, our current police chief, Bonnie Tim, who we all know and has been active since day one on this event, Nathan Grossenbeck of the Credit Union, Ken Biney, Micah Hearn, Rebecca Hansen from Parks and Rec, Debbie Ali, and Sharon Tomey. I may have missed somebody, but I think that's most for Kites Over Lake Michigan. We thank all of them. Now, with that, and we are featuring a photo of Chow at the first Kites Over Lake Michigan 19 years ago. I think most of us would agree you've held up pretty well, Chow. And in his Kite Boss t-shirt. I couldn't find a picture of you from the back, but with that resolution expressing appreciation to Kite Boss Chow Chong and the Kites Over Lake Michigan Board for 19 great years of Kites Over Lake Michigan. Whereas shortly after moving to our area in April 2000 with his wife, Kim, she's still part of the picture too after 19 years, so got to give her some credit. Chow Chong turned his passion for kiting into a local business with the opening of Unique Flying Objects as a colorful and exciting new business in downtown Two Rivers. And whereas Chow soon became an active member of the Two Rivers business community, and through his works with members of the Wisconsin kiting community and local support, organized the first ever Kites Over Lake Michigan event at Two Rivers Neshota Beach in 2005. And whereas that event, under Chow's leadership and the support and participation of the Wisconsin kiters and kiters from throughout the Midwest, soon grew into one of the largest kite festivals in the region. And whereas this event continued to grow each year, producing considerable benefit for the city of Two Rivers, as well as the visual feast of giant kites in the air, extensive ground displays of banners, pennants, and kites, magnificent team flying performances, the running of the balls, that's the parachute races down the beach, and the ever-popular candy drops and kite-making workshops for kids made Neshota Beach and Two Rivers the place to be each Labor Day weekend. And whereas in addition to putting Neshota Beach on the map as the best beach in Wisconsin, Kites Over Lake Michigan significantly benefited the community groups who provided concessions to serve the thousands of attendees and boosted Two Rivers' tourism economy. And whereas high water levels on Lake Michigan in recent years, notably in 2020, forced the event to be relocated from Neshota Beach to the Two Rivers High School campus, where it has continued to draw thousands of attendees and has demonstrated that on a Labor Day weekend, Two Rivers can play host to huge crowds at both the beach and the high school. And whereas Chow Chong and the Kites Over Lake Michigan Board recently announced that the 2024 edition of Kites Over Lake Michigan will be their last and the organization will be disbanded on a high note after 19 years. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Two Rivers does hereby express its heartfelt thanks to Chow Chong for providing the expertise and leadership needed to make Kites Over Lake Michigan an enormously successful community event. And be it further resolved that the community's thanks are also extended to each and every member of the Kites Over Lake Michigan Board for all of their hard work organizing this major annual event, securing sponsorships, and handling all the behind-the-scenes work that makes for a flawless event as experienced by the public. Be it further resolved, last but not least, that the Kite Boss and his organization are thanked for the sheer joy that Kites Over Lake Michigan has brought to the hearts of attendees, young and old, from near and far over the past 19 years. And be it further resolved, the City Council hereby expresses its desire to be supportive of any future events that continue to celebrate Two Rivers' status as one of the great kite flying venues of the Great Lakes region. Don't know anything for certain there, but we expect if maybe some things are up in the air, but among those, we hope that kites continue to be up in the air. Dated this 19th day of August, 2024, and already signed, with one exception, by all members of the City Council and the City Manager. And how about a round of applause for Chow and all of the If you'd like to join me up here, I'll give you a copy of the resolution. I didn't think to put it in a fancy folder because Lisa's off today, but sincerely, thank you. If you have any comments you wish to share or added thanks for folks I might have missed.
Thank you, Greg, and the Two Rivers City Council for this honor and privilege. Well, it's been a long 24 years that since we moved here, and 19 years, and finally it was time, because my lovely bride said, it's time you retire. So, anyway, I am the face, and the name of the event. But certainly there's been a lot of people and volunteers and board members who have helped this event. Again, like Greg mentioned, Bonnie Tim, one of the original members. Chief Minot, who replaced Brian Kohlmeyer, who replaced Chief
Collins was there on the ground floor.
Yeah. And Jeff Dawson was one of the original board members too. So these guys helped, in this event from a small local successful kite festival. And not only that, they gave me a lot of guidance, what to do and especially what not to do. Otherwise, you would have seen beer chugging and pie throwing or wet t-shirt contest. So they kind of stopped me. You can do something like that without the support of sponsors and business community. So So it's been great. And certainly my wife, thank you.
Thank you. Again, heartfelt thanks for the whole community as expressed by council for what really has been a magnificent gift to this community. Don't be a stranger. So with that, we'll move along into the rest of the city manager's report. You'll be glad. Lisa wasn't around today and I had limited time, so there are very few slides. I would note in the area of recruitment, police department actually has completed interviews. Chief, quick update on the status of our officer vacancies, to the extent you can speak to that.
Yeah, so we just completed a few things. Most recently, we just put out the final of 3 conditional offers out to new employees. I won't give the names yet until we have everything in place, but we are doing background, psychologicals, all that good stuff, so I can give out a conditional offer of employment. One of those would be a current LTC student who is set to graduate in December. So we would look to hire that person on full part-time and get as much training as we can prior to that graduation. The other 2 we would look to hire full-time and get all the training out of the way prior to sending them to an academy in January. That would be the soonest that we could do so. With that comes an employment agreement for those 3, so that that'll be awesome. We have 3 young, really good candidates there. We also just had a promotional process of which we completed. We just had our PFC, I think, wrap up on Thursday. Happy to announce that our lieutenant replacements, because we had 2 vacancies, will now be Matt Lutzy and Logan Kalahach. I think I said that right. He's just Logan to the rest of us. One of those being Drug Metro and the other one SRO. I did speak with Diane, the superintendent of the schools, to ensure that there will be no break in SRO duty there. So that's going to be our #1 top priority, regardless of anything, is to make a smooth transition there and provide the needed services at LB Clark.
We'll be acknowledging the 2 promoted officers at a future meeting then?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you. My decision, we are going to re-advertise. And this is prospective, getting the ad out this week with a new deadline of September 13 to try to cast a bit of a wider net for applications for community development director, city planner. And new, I think some of you were aware, my administrative assistant and our deputy city clerk, Lisa Keen, was looking at retirement around year end. She has recently advised that she would like to retire shortly after, whoops, typo there, shortly after the November election. So a little sooner. That means I met with Amanda on that today. We will begin recruitment right away. Also looking to get an ad out with a September 13 deadline, because ideally we'd like someone on board in early October for some overlap with Lisa, both on the duties specific to the city manager's office. Action, all hands on. A good look at budget to make sure there are enough resources there, but as well, and we need. Ongoing, excuse me, work on Roosevelt Street, as I reported last time. I think last meeting, the storm sewer work was in the home stretch. Sanitary sewer is lowest, then water, then storm sewer as far as depth. All utility work on Roosevelt is now complete. Water, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, the mains under the street, and the connecting laterals that serve the 50-odd properties along the street. General contractor there is Mammoth Construction. They did most all the underground work. Their paving subcontractor is Vinton Construction. Vinton started last week working south from 12th Street. They're down to about 10th as of earlier today. They're excavating the existing subbase and putting new gravel material in, then fine grading and compacting in preparation for concrete paving, which I would hope would be happening, early September, Matt? In early September. So at least we had some new progress photos, and you can see them there starting from the north end of the project near Crescent Woolen Mills, working south with that sub-base preparation. Revaluation project. There's been a whole lot of notices go out to property owners in the community. Representatives of Accurate Assessors are meeting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week at City Hall with property owners. I think they had 5 or 6 assessors here today for open book. There is open book again tomorrow and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to noon. Come to City Hall. There'll be signage directing you where to go or check at customer service. Board of Review will meet on Wednesday, September 25th. That's for a minimum of 2 hours. Don't be surprised if it has to be extended. That starts at 4 p.m. on September 26th. Just a few related statistics to share. Two Rivers has not conducted a citywide revaluation since 1999. That's a long time. State law requires that a reval be completed if the State Department of Revenue sales studies show that total assessed value for the municipality is more than 10% out of whack or at variance with actual market value as determined by the Department of Revenue sales studies they do each year. If you're more than 10% out of whack in total for a period of 5 years or more, then the state can come in and do a reval at the community's expense. Two Rivers, shortly, a few years after our last reval was over, was actually assessing it under. Property values came down. We came back in. Came Hamilton's departure, values went down. We're back in compliance. As far as the mandate for a reval, you can see here the overall assessment ratio as recently as 2018, total market for all classes of property was that remained in percent of 100 in 19 and 20. We fell out of compliance in 2021, and particularly with rapidly escalating home values, which aren't just unique to Two Rivers, but are all over, we have fallen further out of compliance. And the 2024 number, there won't be that assessment ratio will be based on new assessments, but we'd be right around 50%, I expect, in 2024. As I noted, rapidly rising home values have been reflected in the Department of Revenue's annual statement of changes in equalized value. And for residential properties, you can see, and I only went back to 2018, there was a modest decline in 2018, 4% increase in economic change, or if you will, market-driven increase in the value of our residential properties in 2019. Then it really took off in 2020, 21, 22, when we saw revenue showing a 19% increase in the economic value of existing housing. And the number that just came out in August of this year for the based on 2023 sales showed a 12% increase again last year. If you take the last 5 years and take the compounding of those percentages into account, residential properties, existing residential properties have increased in value per the DOR sales studies by about 66% over that 5-year period. So better than 2/3 of the lift that we see in the reval. Again, that recently completed revaluation pending review at Open Book and Board of Review shows an average increase of 94.4% for residential properties. And again, those residential properties make up close to 4/5 of the value of the city, 77.5% as of 2023, prior to the reval. The average increase for commercial properties was 39%. So that does mean as residential properties make up a bigger proportion of the tax base, you are going to see some tax burden shifting from the commercial class to residential. Even if every governmental unit keeps the dollar amount of their levies unchanged, those market dynamics are going to push some of the relative burden over to residential, and will that takes. I know certainly, I fully expect it to be my goal. It is my goal, and I expect it to be the council's, that our 2025 budget is, sees no increase in the tax levy, the amount of property taxes the city has to derive from the community for operations and debt service. That still doesn't mean there won't be a lot of people whose tax bills go up and a lot of people whose tax bills go down, because a reval is about equity and apportionment of the tax burden. It's not about being a revenue machine for the cities, the school district, or anybody else. Equity exercises just aren't a lot of fun. Just a little more commentary. As has been noted in information provided to the community by Accurate Assessing, a big increase in your assessment doesn't mean, excuse me, a typo there, a big increase necessarily in your property tax bill. Generally, taxing entities adjust their taxes to effectively make any increase in assessed values revenue neutral, unless there's some big issue just hitting the books like a bond issue or something. But given that property taxes are apportioned to every property based on those properties' assessments, there'll be a good number of properties whose tax bills go up and a good number whose bills go down. Revaluations are a process for helping assure the tax burden is spread equitably based on the relative market value of individual taxable properties. They're done to assure equity, not to generate more revenue for taxing entities. In the case of the city, I'd just like to remind folks that the amount of total taxes collected by the city for operations, that being the levy for general fund and library, is capped by the state's expenditure restraint law. The dollars collected from the community for operations can only increase year over year based on net new construction in the community. New construction minus any properties that go off the tax rolls, like due to demolition or becoming tax exempt. So you can only grow based on net new construction. The other big piece of the city tax levy, which is for debt service, is based on the amount actually required each year to make principal and interest payments on debt issued for capital projects. And I know myself, the staff, and the council strive to keep that amount relatively constant from year to year. So that's where we are. People will know for sure when their tax bills come out, but this is a process that we have to do, or we'd be under the gun for the state to do. Folks whose bills go up, without question. There'll be a lot of folks whose bills do go up. Related to that, I had on the agenda, and I actually shared at last meeting, the 2024 report on changes in equalized value, which is where the state says, okay, what's happened in this market over the prior year, and what does it indicate as far as changes in the city's equalized value. Overall, the Department of Revenue showed an increase of 14% in the city's equalized value. Generally, we view that as good news. There's more economic value there in the city. But it'd be nice if more of it was new development. A major driver in that 14% lift was economic change or market-driven appreciation of 12% for existing residential properties. And again, last year, like several prior years, that number was higher than what we saw for the city of Manitowoc and Manitowoc County. The county was up 8%, city of Manitowoc was up 9% for 2023. Interestingly, and I asked to see a copy of the sales the state was looking at on this. Usually our commercial properties either show a small decline in value as a class or a small increase. And the 2024, just released in August, report on equalized values estimates that commercial properties went up in value 26% based on actual sales. Now that doesn't mesh with the reval saying that in aggregate they went up 39%. So I'd just like some more information on that. But there were apparently several sales that showed properties selling for significantly more than their assessed values. There was last year in the city $4.5 million in new residential construction. I dare say most of that was over at the Sandy Bay subdivision, where this council last meeting approved extending infrastructure for more lots. And there was really minimal new commercial or industrial construction in 2023. So we need to see more of that, the burden. classes. I did not have time to pull together graphics for the other items, but of note, the Business Industrial Development Committee last week approved a $63,000 loan to assist with redevelopment of the former Luigi's Restaurant at 1303 22nd Street. That's been sitting vacant for about 5 years. Two young men, both with restaurant experience, are proposing a wood fire pizzeria, also a catering business to be based out of that location. Their total financing package is $420,000, the lead financing being a bank loan for $315,000. So the proposed city loan is only about 20% of what the bank is lending. There are a number of contingencies to make sure the loan has good security and collateral. But with any luck, by the end of the year, we will see that commercial site, which has sat dark and vacant for way too long, back up with a new business. Leicester Library Summer Reading Program had an outstanding kids program and Broughton Burger Sale last week. Jeff, do you want to share some commentary on that, seeing how I didn't even put a good picture in here? I did eat a brat, however, which is not on my list, but
Yeah, I had a
it was
brat.
good.
This year's summer theme was Adventure Begins at Your Library. We've had a really busy summer. We've had a total participation in reading to date is 642. That's 228 adults, 52 teens, 362 youth. Our TR Treasure Quest, which highlights many gems of Two Rivers. This year's quest took participants to Woodland Dunes, Vanderbroek Arboretum, Central Park West, Neshota Beach, Paddlers Park, and the Mariners Trail. We had 50 teams, that's 188 players, and 18 of the 50 teams have completed to date the quest. Tom Peace was last Wednesday. We had over 175 people in attendance. The Brat Fry brought in $900, which was really good. This benefits Healthiest Manitowoc County Investing Early Coalition, which includes the Reach Out and Read program, Partners of Manitowoc County. That's spearheaded by the library. Our to-go packs, we had 198 families with steam packs, and that's sponsored by NextEra Energy. Other to-go packs sponsored by other donations, 395 Storytime to-go packs were distributed, 500 art to-go packs were distributed, 250 Teen Arts to-go packs were distributed. In total, we distributed 1,343 to-go packs, and all were paid through via donation. Our overall program attendance, June and July only, August, we run to the end of August, so we still have a few more numbers to gather there. We to date had 14 adult programs with 228 in attendance. We've had 67 youth programs with 4,769 in attendance. That means that our July numbers were the highest ever recorded for Leicester Public Library. Thank you for the opportunity to share those numbers with you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Very good. As far as upcoming special events, and really those stats are amazing, aren't they, when you think about it for
That's
our
great for
for our
community.
library? And the emphasis on early childhood reading, early childhood literacy, then blossoming into hopefully a lifelong learning, lifelong reading situation is just great. And that's working together as a community. Thank you, Jeff. Upcoming events, Thursday night concerts in the park in the home stretch. It's Dr. Bombay this Thursday night, 6 to 8 p.m. on the Schmidt Brothers stage in Central Park. Friday Night Live continues with Susie and the Detonators, Friday night from 7 to 9, Central Park West on the Schmidt Brothers stage. The Back to School Carnival, the Two Rivers Senior Center, again, highlighting the efforts of the community to support our kids as they go back to school, to make sure they're equipped with all the things they need for school. Bands on the Beach. Bands on the Beach wraps up this Sunday with Big Mouth and the Power Tool Horns, amazing brass from the Rotary Pavilion stage. That's from 2 to 6 p.m. at Neshota Beach. Looking at the weather forecast, it'll be smoking down there in terms of the weather and the music. But there will be libations, courtesy of the Two Rivers Rotary. So get on down to Neshota Beach. Big Mouth and the Power Tool Horns, just outstanding. I did not note on the agenda, but if you go to Explore Two Rivers, you will note there is a Dragon Boat Bonanza being hosted out of Metalware Corporation's facilities on the West Twin River, and I assume out of Vets Park as well. Cheer on company teams from area companies competing in dragon boats on the West Twin River. There will be food trucks, a beverage bungalow, dunk tank, silent auction, tricycle races, kids games, and more. This is a special event with proceeds benefiting Camille Hawkinson, a 3-year-old from Mishicot battling B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So community stepping up for a good cause. Dragon Boat Bonanza, Thursday evening, August 22, 5 to 8:30, over by Metalware in the West Twin River. So make time, turn out for that one, by all means. And then last but definitely not least, we highlighted it earlier, the 19th annual grand finale, Take a Bow, get out and enjoy it, of Kites Over Lake Michigan, August 31st and September 1st, out at the Two Rivers High School campus. That is my report. Legislative intergovernmental update. I don't have a lot. I know the county's reviewing our various contracts that are being assisted by the county grant money that is being shared with the city. Laterals. Everything seems okay there. The legislature's not in session, so they can't do any good or any harm. And it's campaign season, so it's keeping all the elected folks at state and federal level mighty busy, as you know. That's my report.
Thank you, Greg. On to number 10, our consent agenda. Under A, we have minutes and meetings. We have 8. One is the library board from July 9th, Public Utilities Committee, August 5th, Public Works Committee, August 7th, Plan Commission, August 12th, Explore Two Rivers Board of Directors from July 9th, Police and Fire Commission from August 1st, Business and Industrial Development and Community Development Authority from August 13th, and Personnel and Finance Committee from August 13th. The recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. Under B, we have department reports. There's 9 of those. We have electric, fire, inspections, library, police from March, April, and May, public works, safety, tourism, and water. The recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. We have, under C, we have summary of verified bills for the month of July 2024 for the amount of $1,358,776.44. The recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. Under D, applications and petitions, there is 1, a temporary Class B license for Mishicot Indian Diamond Club for Slugfest, September 20th through the 22nd, 2024, at Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park at 1200 35th Street, Two Rivers. Brooke Gallagher is the agent. The recommended action will be a motion to approve the application and authorize issuance of the license. The recommended action for the consent agenda will be a motion to approve the consent agenda with the various actions recommended. Do I have that motion? Thank you, Shannon. Second by, I saw Tim first. Any discussion?
I'd like, Greg, maybe you could highlight just the results of our Room Tax Commission, Tourism Board activities, because I think that's a positive.
Well, again, this year, room tax revenues, I believe through June, exceed what they were at this time last year by about, help me out, Joe, about $10,000? 12%, or about $10,000. Frankly, the final results for the really heavy months of the year, June was darn good, but for July, August are yet to hit. So we are running ahead of last year. The Explore Board had a meeting last week. They're really getting things organized as far as their governance structure, and we're moving toward the formal contract that we anticipate having between Explore and the Room Tax Commission each year. And I know that Mr. Metzen and I have an appointment this week, tomorrow, I think, to go over his preliminary budget numbers for presentation to both the Room Tax Commission and the Explore Board. So tourism is up. We're hearing good things from our hoteliers and vacation rental owners. And yeah, I guess those are the big things that I have to share.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Nothing else. I will just make one quick comment. If anyone out there is interested in what the city is doing or what's going on, read the minutes of the meeting and the department reports. They're very informative. You even pick up something like Bonnie picked up tonight from the utilities. So you never know what you'll find in the notes. With that said, we're looking for an all in favor. So all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. On to number 11, City Council formal items. The first one is a resolution amending the 2024 budget for capital projects, Fund 403 for the Harbor Master Plan implementation to designate $92,000 from funds available in that fund for purchase of the former Eggers industrial parcel at 1303 19th Street. The recommended action will be a motion to waive reading and adopt the resolution. Greg.
Yes. I think the resolution itself, which I won't read in its entirety, but gives the details. And yes, this could be classified as a budgeting whoops that we didn't specifically provide a line item for this. Had also hoped we'd have something moving further along with development of the original Eggers plant parcel on the East Twin. But just to run down through the background quickly, the city in 2018 entered into a development agreement to purchase the former Eggers downtown plant site on the East Twin River, which immediately north of the Hamilton property. That was purchased out of our stormwater fund, and the north third of it has been developed as a stormwater pond. The remainder, which has been divided off as a separate parcel, is available for redevelopment. That was purchased from Jay and Mary Strew, formerly, of course, President Jay, former president of Eggers. They also are the owners of the property at 1303 19th Street, which is the one remaining former Eggers structure over here. Part of it's painted red, part of it's concrete block. And basically the property consists of right where that building sits and a paved parking loading area between there and 19th Street. In the agreement to purchase the main parcel, the city secured an option to purchase the second parcel for $88,500, which, if memory serves, was the assessed value at the time of that parcel. Per City Council direction in August 2022, we advised the Strews that the city wished to exercise its option with closing to take place by September 30th. So it's supposed to take place by the end of next month. There was not a specific appropriation in this year's budget. So I'm asking for an amendment here to to move within the Fund 503, the Capital Plan for Harbor Master Plan implementation, $92,000, to budget $92,000 as a capital outlay for this purchase. Now, why $92,000? That would cover the cost of the purchase along with the cost of a phase one environmental site assessment. This property, of course, former industrial property, it does qualify for the LGU exemption, the local governmental unit liability exemption under state law, because it is included in a TIF. It wasn't declared blighted back when the city did a blight survey. The main Eggers site was, the Hamilton site was, this one wasn't. However, it's included in a blight elimination tax incremental district, the TID that was created. And DNR has ruled that properties qualify for the LGU exemption that are included in a blight elimination TID. Another requirement, and don't ask me right offhand, you have to have a fresh phase one assessment that's done within a certain period. I want to say 90 days. I neglected to look it up, of the acquisition. So I have gotten a proposal and accepted a proposal from McMahon Associates to get that done within the next 2 weeks for us. So we make sure we meet the statutory requirements for the LGU. But so that will probably be about another $2,500 spend, which gets you up to $91,000. So with that, these are monies that were borrowed about 4 years ago for the purpose of acquiring the Hamilton property from Thermo Fisher. Like we talked about earlier, that's not happening this year. I'm not sure it'll be happening next, but Hopefully this council continues to want to pursue that. But right now we have $550,000 for property acquisition in the harbor maintenance or the harbor master plan implementation fund. This year's budget did pull $288,454 of borrowed money from there to provide for capital projects and other funds, but it still left $550,000 balance. This would reduce that balance at the end of the year then to $458,000. So we have available borrowed money. Clearly, if we end up doing the Hamilton property purchase, that could be upwards of $1.5 million, but with the intent of pursuing redevelopment. So would ask council approval on this.
With the phase one environmental report, could we recoup some of that money as a result if it's in our favor or?
Well, certainly the city has the ability to say if we remarket the property for development to set the price at whatever is deemed appropriate. So
the state wouldn't recoup any of the testing results or anything at all.
And I don't see the need to do any phase two testing on this. We do the phase one. We did pretty extensive phase two testing on the main plant site. So.
Last question is, do we have any, I support this by the way, but do we have any immediate plans for what we're going to do with it other than evaluate it and test it?
No, but frankly, if we don't, there's always a danger in making use of a building for storage because then you need to relocate that storage. But in the near term, if we aren't selling it right away, the city's got plenty of storage needs that could be.
It's a great piece of property that could generate something.
Yeah.
We are looking for a motion to adopt
has
this.
a question.
Thank you, Mark. Second by Adam.
I'll second it. I do have a question.
Go for it.
When we sell this, will that money go back into the original place we are borrowing it from, quote unquote?
Certainly, I'm going to give you two answers. On the parent parcel, it certainly is the intent to reimburse the stormwater fund. In this case, it would that'd be up to the council at that time, but it would be logical for it to go back in here or to go over to debt service to help pay off some of the borrowing that's now being paid with, it's now being paid from the general debt service levy for the harbor fund. So I'd leave that to the council at the time, but the logical thing to do would be put it back in here, either to be available for that future property purchase or to pay off debt service.
Any other council discussion? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shimulinis.
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister.
Aye.
Adam Mahusky.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc.
Aye.
Mark Bittner. Shannon Derby. Doug Leclerc. Or sorry, Bill Leclerc. Doug Pratt.
Aye.
Read two lines at once.
Thank you all for that. On to B, resolution initiating the process for recruitment and selection of a new city manager. The recommended action will be a motion to waive reading and adopt the resolution.
Okay, I believe this resolution as presented, you'll find is consistent with discussion and a consensus out of the Personnel and Finance Committee last week. And I'll defer to Bonnie or other committee members that want to speak to that. But I've essentially, I haven't put it in writing, but have advised the council, I can put it in writing anytime, that I do intend to retire effective early August of next year. Actually, Friday, August 8th is the date I've kind of homed in on because God willing and council putting up with it, I will hit the 30-year anniversary on August 7th, the day before. So that'd be kind of nice. And from my standpoint. So I've announced the intent to retire. The committee has indicated they want to gear up for the process of recruitment and selection and hiring of a new city manager. It's good to start now because that's going to have a budgetary impact next year. There'll be some recruitment costs. You're going to need to take a good look at the salary and benefit package. And if there's a desire to budget for any overlap period, which I'm amenable to, I don't want to stick around to the point of being a pain in the butt. But if council wants to see an overlap period with a new person, that would need to be budgeted for. So this resolution and there's a lot to be done as far as learning about the process and giving guidance as a selection committee to the process. So I guess with reference to this resolution in front of you, it asks that the council authorize establishing a 4-member city manager search committee made up of the 3 personnel and finance committee members, Chair Bonnie, Adam Wahusky, Scott excuse me. Who did I?
Bittner.
That Mark Bittner, excuse me. And in addition to those 3, our council president, Scott Steckmesser, that the council authorize that committee to issue a request for proposals, soliciting proposals from professional search firms with experience in local government executive recruitment. And we've identified 3 so far that would get the RFP. The council acknowledged that the search committee will have primary responsibility for working with the selected consultant to develop and implement candidate recruitment and evaluation strategies. And those are addressed in a draft RFP that we provided to you, to review the applications received and to return to the full council with recommendations for a group of finalist candidates to be interviewed, for interviews by the full city council. I'd plug in here, the committee isn't saying it's taking over the hiring process, but we're doing a lot of the legwork as far as working with a consultant, soliciting applications, narrowing the field with help from that consultant. Certainly the council could have access to the whole file of applications, but with a recommendation from the committee. Number 4, that the search committee and the selected consultant be tasked with providing periodic updates on the recruitment process to the full council. You got that opportunity on each regular meeting agenda. That the search committee and the search consultant be tasked with developing recruitment materials that reflect input from the city council, city department heads, and members of the community. How those are collected from department heads and members of the community, I guess I'd say is something the search committee and consultant would work out. That the search committee and the consultant also be tasked with developing a candidate assessment process that incorporates feedback from department heads, city employees, and members of the community to assist the council in its evaluation of candidates and ultimately its selection of a new city manager. Again, not proposing the council hand over the keys to the hiring process, but asking that some mechanisms be built in from feedback from staff, notably the department heads, other employees, and the community. That can be done in asking the council endorsement of these recommendations regarding a framework for city manager recruitment and selection, and authorizing establishment of the selection committee as stated, and assigning to that committee the tasks and responsibilities identified. There, I darn near did read the resolution, I guess. But included in your agenda as an attachment to the most recent Personnel and Finance Committee minutes was a copy of that draft consultant RFP that was mentioned. Sorry, I sucked all the air out of the room, but Bonnie, if you or other members of the committee have comments, I'll rest my case.
Anything? Or?
You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
I think you hit it on the head.
Yeah,
You read the resolution, by the way, yeah.
Hit it on the head 5 or 6 times, probably.
Was good.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're looking for a motion to adopt the resolution. I saw Adam first, second by Doug. Any council discussion? Nothing. This will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Bonnie Shimalunas,
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister,
Aye.
Adam Husky. Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Bittner, Shannon Derby,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie. All in favor.
Thank you. On to C, consideration of proposed agreement with Manitowoc County pertaining to city use of the county compost site on Woodland Drive. The recommended action will be a motion to authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. Grace.
We all love, and most of us have made frequent trips, usually 10 minutes to closing time, to the compost site out on Woodland Drive. It's a great service made available, as is the Basswood site, which is year-round, a little further into Manitowoc. We have, as a city, never had to pay for those services. Apparently, the city of Manitowoc has for a number of years made a modest payment to the county for access Again, they primarily go to the Basswood site. The county has had discussions with Mr. Heckenleibel about such an agreement. The proposed cost is $9,000 per year, which would be would have to be provided for starting next year in our solid waste utility fund budget. It is on the agenda, recommended for approval. And if you have any questions, Matt, I know we'd be happy to answer.
So looking for a motion. Thank you, Bill. Second by Tim. Any council discussion?
Why are they charging us all?
On his way up to. Solid answer, I am sure.
Solid answer for solid waste. The short answer is equity. As Greg had mentioned, City of Manitowoc has been funding this with Manitowoc County for numerous years. And the county approached us last year saying basically it's time to become equitable and pay our share of the composting process. And as I've told the city manager there and the committee, there's no way we could manage our solid waste, yard waste for $9,000 a year. So it's a very, unfortunately, we have to pay, but it's a value for $9,000.
I should mention it, it's a 10-year term on the agreement. I believe the payment doesn't change.
Correct.
From year to year under it. There is, I believe, the ability for either party to terminate early. Maybe I'm not right there.
With notice, yes.
With notice. So it is a cost. The quick answer, in addition to equity, is because they can. It's their facility. But as I understand it, this, in addition to securing the rights of Two Rivers residents to keep using that facility, that is our go-to spot with the massive quantities of leaves that we pick up each fall. And this does provide for the city's ability to access and drop leaves off there beyond the normal
closing date,
closing date, which is necessary for us.
So this is for city operations, correct? Not for residential operations.
While the 9,000 is for residential, it's basically allowing residents to use either the Woodland or the Basswood site. And then primarily to manage our fall leaf collection.
Well, then did they make note of if they charge other municipalities such as the outlying villages and or township residents?
Right now, they are primarily looking at the two large communities, city municipalities. I don't know if they'll be looking at the smaller townships or villages within the city or within the county, but they're taking the two big communities and starting there.
Okay.
And they do also have cameras to watch the people going in and out, and anybody with a business vehicle has to have a sticker in the window.
We prefer getting it free, but probably goes without saying, this is a heck of a lot cheaper than we could develop, get permitting for, and maintain a yard waste disposal site.
Normally, we don't take questions from the crowd, but go ahead.
There's a site at BP that's also.
Honest, their transfer station, do they have a yard waste site?
I think that is a transfer, recycling and garbage transfer station. I don't believe it's for compost. A township may have a compost site, but I'm not aware of any.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Pat Steckmeister.
Aye.
Adam Mahusky.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc. Mark Bittner.
Aye.
Shannon Derby.
Aye.
Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Doug Brandt.
Aye.
Tim Petrie. Bonnie Schimmel Lewis.
Aye.
All in favor.
Thank you all for that. Number 12, from information only. Do you have that, Greg?
So I've spoken to most of these, but next Monday, the 26th, 6 PM in this room is the work session for August. See you there. Open book again for people to come in and discuss their new assessments with the folks from Accurate Assessing. Continues from 9 to noon, both tomorrow and Wednesday. And I'd certainly encourage people, even outside those times, to reach out if they have questions to the appraisal firm. And then open book coming up in September, as was noted. Next regular city council meeting on a Tuesday, of course, because of the Labor Day holiday. That'll be September 3rd at 6 PM. I do anticipate on the work session agenda, including a closed session on a property acquisition matter that we've discussed in the past. And frankly, discussing maybe another budget amendment, moving some money in existing capital funds, because we've got some worries with the digital control system for the elevator that is 31 years old and no longer being produced. So say a silent prayer for the elevator controls, but we'll want to talk about that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it'll always take you down in a controlled fashion, so you should be okay. Leaving here,
You may get in the basement, but
the default, it puts you in the basement.
okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for that. On to 13, adjournment. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Darla. Any discussion? See nothing. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you and good night.
Thank
The
you all.
elevator, when that happened, I don't think the elevator very much, but it was recent.